Cowboys and Eagles play Sunday night, and you can hear that game right here on 105.3 The Fan. When did you start disliking or hating the Philadelphia Eagles?
Kevin,
Fake Neil.
What's that?
Fake Neil.
Fake Neil. Explain that story for those
in
who don't remember.
In 1987, Buddy Ryan, piece of dump, is the is the head coach. Randall Cunningham is the fake Kneeler. But they're destroying the Cowboys. The Cowboys are miserable. By 1987, Tom Landry can't figure out talent, is keeping old guys around who can't play anymore. They can't find a quarterback after Danny White. And Philadelphia's won the game. There's less than a minute to go. They're kneeling out the clock. The game is decided. It's over. The Cowboys have lost. The Cowboys defense is just standing there waiting for the 2 to 3 kneel downs to end the game. And Buddy Ryan calls in fake kneel it. And I can't remember the receiver. I don't know if it's Mike Quick or not, but just run. They're probably on the Cowboys 22-yard line, I'm guessing. It's not like a bomb, but it's like, fake kneel it. All the Cowboys will think we're kneeling out the clock because we are. The game is over, and you go run and get another touchdown on them. I mean, that's just Buddy Ryan. That's what I hated I really did. I hated when his son was part of the Cowboys staff. Like, in a weird way. I know his son had nothing to do with it, but I thought Buddy Ryan was such a trashy person.
Oh, yeah, man.
That I was just like, I don't want his son being part of this.
Did you read newspapers back then, too? Like, was that how you consumed things, or was that just something you saw on TV?
The kneel down?
No, the stuff, any other stuff regarding Buddy Ryan. Was there other stuff that you'd read about it, or was it stories?
Just watching him. He's just a D-wad.
Because it was my dad. I remember my dad was just like, he hated him too, and I was like, wow. And then I look back, and I know the newspapers weren't too kind around here regarding him, of course, so the media in that way was like, nah, he doesn't matter. So I got a lot of that from my dad back then.
He didn't really respect anybody. I don't know who he respected. He punched, when he was on the Oilers, he punched a coach in the ear hole.
Did he punch Ditka too? And Ditka was the head coach. They got in a fight on the sideline, right?
I don't remember that, but that could have happened too.
I've heard that story. I didn't know if that happened on the field or like behind the scenes.
I think there's video. Yeah, there's video. No, I don't know. I'll go look.
I also just watched the fake kneel down play, and
where were they? They were close to scoring, right? It wasn't a long pass, was it?
No, they were at the 33.
Okay. Yeah, I just remember watching that with like my grandpa and uncles and my father, and they were just like, "What a piece of ass!"
Yeah,
he is. Buddy Ryan, he was a piece of ass.
I have lots of different opinions rolling in on Twitter right now.
Okay,
the McNabb era. I think that's when I really started to grow a hatred for them. Okay. Because like I always kind of didn't like them, but that's probably where I was paying most attention to football and started that idea. And it was tough to beat that team, man. They were a really good team. Armin Williams tweeted me and said, "I was born this way." And there are two answers that stand out the most. A, at birth, I was born into it, probably before I was born. And then the other answer is Michael Irvin. And the Michael Irvin moment when that fan base started cheering and thinking that dude was paralyzed or even worse.
And that's what it is for me. The fifth game of the 1999 season. Although Bounty Bowl, I'm sure, will come up for plenty of people. But Michael Irvin tackled by, was it Tim Houck? And headfirst into the turf.
Hudson Hawk.
I don't know how many people know that reference. He suffered non-life-threatening injuries, but it was a spine injury. He was carted off the field, and the trash Eagles fans were stoked that maybe he was paralyzed. Don't know.
Yeah.
But they were stoked that he was really, really hurt.
Yeah, that's you hear Michael Irvin talk about those things, and you never was the ESPN the thumbs up, Kevin, was that time where you were like, you saw that and you're like, okay, he's okay.
Yeah.
And that's like all you're waiting on. And Michael Irvin has even said a number of times, you don't realize how important that thumbs up is until you're laying there. And you're like, I am okay. I need to give everybody that nod.
Have you ever heard his explanation? I guess maybe I had before. I just didn't remember it. about why he never got really mad at the Philly fans for that.
No, please explain.
Is he said, I remember my dad, and a lot of those fans are just like my dad. It's the only place and the only time their opinion counts. The only way they can voice their disappointment. And I can't have a problem with that. So, like, I get what he's saying. It also feels kind of like a burn, which I appreciate, but he's like, that's the only time your voice and opinion matters. And so knock it out, because he said his dad was like that.
Yeah, and to that point, that's whenever that discussion of now our fan points and opinions are, I don't like the way that you did that. And I mean, hopefully my team can go show your team up the next time they face off against each other.
From the 817, I've hated them since, let's just say, before they were born. That's what we're going to shorten it down
Kevin,
to.
again, that is when somebody said, it was a buddy of mine on Twitter says, it was probably while watching The Big Lebowski. And there's the line, and he said, man, come on. I had a rough night, and I hate the effing Eagles, man.
I get it.
Is that it? Is that the moment for you?
No, I'm going to stick with Irvin, but I like it when pop culture also feels like, hey, these people are trash.
It's funny how you remember things and then they're not exactly true. I didn't know it was a pass interference in the end zone. Because did you watch it?
Yeah.
So it was to Mike Quick. It was a pass interference.
Good for the DB for staying with them.
Yeah, they actually, and then with 2 seconds to go, up 30-20 on the 1 yard line, they run, I think it's Eric Byers. I can't remember what his first name was, but Keith Byers, thank you, piece of dump. Ran it into the end zone.
Did you see the video?
Did his dance. Hey, look, man, 37-20, game over.
Have you seen the video of the Niners fans walking into the Eagles stadium and how, like, it's one of those things where every step you take, there's 2 to 3 different Eagles fans flipping you off, yelling at you about how you're the worst, cussing at you. And it feels like threat, and you're just kind of walking through it all with the shame bell. You know, the whole time you're naked and you're walking through with the shame bell. Well, and that's the feel. And that's, I don't think every stadium's like that. Every place is like that, where you have that kind of feeling of these people are the worst.
Okay, well, think about this.
That little kid just flipped me off.
Well, man, I did think that was a baller move. I'm not going to lie. Like, that kid's a jerk, but I thought it was kind of funny. This makes sense then, because when I first read it, I was like, no way. And then I thought, I definitely believe that happened. I started hating the Eagles from the 214 when one of them stole the baby out of my wife's arms. I hate the Eagles.
What happened after that?
I mean, I hope.
Did you get your child back?
I hope they're like, oh, we're just messing around.
Yeah, I need to know more about that,
fair,
because
fair.
I will say that the fans are one of the main factors that I'm seeing too. Is it's the fans, but this Sirianni group is something I don't like either. Like his whole persona.
He did get, he corrected his jaundice from last year. He got under the sun and the lamps and everything, so he's not as jaundiced this year as last year.
But this is a dude, and I will say, I do wonder, if he was your coach, would you feel different about him?
I think so.
Or does the personality rub you the wrong way? Because his whole, like, I'm the most passionate dude in the entire place. I'm Pete Carroll times 20, but I'm also with the Eagles, is one of those things that I'm like, oh my God, dude, give it up. But they're good. And so he walks around with that swagger, and the players love it too. A.J. Brown's talked about that. He's like, I love the way he acts around things because it gets us all fired up for stuff too.
Did I miss it? Because I was trying to find has anybody brought up the Bounty Bowl of 89?
I haven't actually, because we just mentioned that might be a possibility, but
that extended it. So then 2 years after the fake kneel, then he tries to end, then Buddy Ryan thinks, it'd be cool. Let's try to end the life of Troy Aikman. And also, I think it's Zendejas was the kicker at the time. Like, dude, wouldn't it be awesome if Troy Aikman got killed today and never lived another day in his life, and then we did the same thing to their kicker? That would be fun.
And
like, what a piece of dump.
Interestingly enough, I haven't really seen that on the fan text a lot because it's been since birth, and then other people have taken only Cowboys incidents because they're like, sure, Michael Irvin, but also we've seen the snowballs packed with batteries, booing Santa Claus. And so there's even some incidents that don't revolve directly around the Cowboys that have gotten people to hate the Philadelphia Eagles. But a lot of them have said since birth.
From the 817, I prefer the Landry persona. Stoic superiority. Like he knew he was better than you, and he would just kind of acknowledge it with a head nod.
With this exception of one game from the 918. I hated them in 1981 when they made us wear the blue Jinx jersey in the NFC Championship game because they were scared. And so we've seen it. Somebody said, I've hated them since the 70s.
I never got it. Like I never understood. I saw Philly fans from afar. But Kevin, when we went over to Arizona for the Super Bowl this year, I walked out of our convention center and immediately got lost. And I think you remember this, Kevin. I called you and I was like, I don't know. I've been walking for 15 minutes. I don't know where I'm going. But on that walk, I was behind 6 Eagle bros. All right. And you could see it.
It's weird, isn't it? Because they're like dogs. They sniff each other's butts, lick each other in nice places.
Yes, and you could see the way that when people walk by them, the way that they would...
if we win the Super Bowl, we're really going to eat a pile of turds.
I mean, they did punch a horse in the face.
They punched a horse.
Are we that far off from that?
The way they catcalled people as they were walking by and stuff, I was like, these guys are the worst.
Now, you know what I've realized? I guess I didn't realize everyone felt this way. You even bringing up Sirianni has restarted the new phase of hate. Is from the 203. Nick Sirianni has the most punchable face in sports. From the 817. He is definitely a douchebag. From the 425. Same phrase. I can't stand him flapping his stupid arms all over the sidelines. It's like sometimes he does think he's an eagle, and he's like, let me see if I can fly away during the game.
What's weird, though, is as much as we're talking a little bit of trash and hating on the Eagles, they hate the Cowboys and their fans way more. And I mean way more than we ever would.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true, man.
And in a weird way, I would love to ask this to an Eagles fan. Besides winning in the 70s and 90s, what have the Cowboys done really bad? Like, we've never had a Buddy Ryan, like, let's really embarrass
hurt somebody,
this.
fake kneel,
right. Like it's
cheer somebody's debilitating career-ending injury.
Yeah, I mean, you could say this. There is one time where the Cowboys did something pretty dirty, a little bit unintentional in an Eagles-Cowboys situation, and that was Roy Williams broke T.O.'s leg. Now, he didn't mean it was that horse collar tackle, and they obviously had to outlaw that pretty much after that play. The next year, they're like, we can't do this because T.O. was the best receiver in the game at the time. The Eagles were one of the best teams. So that was a moment where the Cowboys really affected the Eagles, and in a negative, in a way, you could say, in a way, a dirty way. But that was part of the rules back then that you could do that, and that's the way Roy Williams tackled.
And if that was the origin story for all Eagles fans hate, then I would be like, sure, I get it. This is interesting, though. I think you guys will get a kick out of this. From the 469, these are two different people. I was born in 1995. I've hated the Eagles since 1977. And then from the 817, I've hated the Eagles since 1985, and I was born in 1992. The math only works with the Eagles. There's multiple people who felt that exact same way.
Yeah, that's the way it goes, man.